With Pennsylvania's major races now largely decided, both parties are analyzing the results. They're looking at what they mean for, of course, as we've been talking about, the next few years.
Now, for more on what we learned last night, our Ethan Kibbe is back at the Storyteller with Dr. Jeffrey Bloodworth from Gannon University. Ethan.
Mike and Eva, good evening. Doctor, let's get right into this. Florida was a bright spot for Republicans last night, winning a Senate race and a gubernatorial race in grand fashion. But outside of that, a tough night, a night that had the possibility of being a dream evening, turning into a nightmare, especially in Pennsylvania. What happened?
It was a historic fumble of the last 50 years. Historically unpopular president, high inflation, a grumpy electorate. This should have been a rout. Republicans, led by Donald Trump, tapped a number of non-mainstream nominees. It gave the entire party a taint of extremism, and it enabled the Democrats to somehow wiggle out of a really tight corner.
Talking about candidates that seem to be called extreme, Doug Mastriano, as we look at the Pennsylvania map here in that gubernatorial race, and kind of get you to step just a half step this way for me. Look at this map. Luzerne County went hard for President Trump twice, but it goes for Shapiro rather a little bit there, 1.2%, considering that went 14% for Trump 2 years ago. Mastriano just didn't seem to play in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, this is a map that looks a lot like, Pennsylvania of maybe 20 years ago, a much more staunchly Democratic state. Doug Mastriano didn't run a good campaign. A lot of Republicans and ancestral Democrats clearly were turned off by him.
How much do you think he dragged down the rest of the ticket? Having him at the top, how much does that hurt Oz, who lost semi-narrowly? And then a lot of those state house races we just heard Brendan talking about that are neck and neck, especially here in these collar counties.
Yeah, it's the top of the ticket. It's the most high profile, or the second most high profile race. It's going to have its effects. He ran far behind Mehmet Oz. Republicans only have themselves to blame Pennsylvania Republicans, when they look in the mirror. But what happened in Pennsylvania, I think it was repeated, except for Florida, time and again.
Let's talk about that very quickly. What does that tell us as we look in the crystal ball for 2024? Pennsylvania, a Democratic rout. Wisconsin, average for Republicans at best. Michigan, not good last night. That's three key battleground states. Didn't go well for Republicans.
No, these are states that Donald Trump won in 16 and was very competitive in 20. You would think that in a midterm, with all of the indices against the Democrats, they would have done well. Look, Democrats didn't win this election. They are very unpopular. But this Republican Party under Donald Trump in 2022 looks to be even more unpopular than an unpopular White House. Which party will pivot to the center and get rid of some of their baggage? That's the question for the future.
We'll have to wait and see. Mike and Emily, more to come on Erie News Now at 5:30.